It was amazing. Out of nowhere, someone gave us a gift and challenged us to start a ministry that would carry the gospel into a larger community. Where do you start? In my own experience, I realized that I've been most moved, most touched, have grown the most when people have told me their stories, their testimonies of how God has worked in their lives. Sometimes the stories were difficult and painful, but they're always filled with hope. And radio was a medium that was there. So we started a program called Passages. Just taking a story, and then if you have a story, on radio that's not an interview, it has to be transformed. So what if we add music and sound effects? And what if we edited it so that it came alive, like public radio does in so many of its wonderful shows? And we went to radio stations and they loved it. And we started quickly, within 2 weeks, having 29 radio stations, giving us a free half hour to tell our stories. And it just grew and grew. And I suddenly realized what a privilege the Presbyterian Media Mission had to be the bearer of these treasures of people's stories. And our people wanted to talk to us, not out of fame, not out of ego, but they were convinced that if they told their story of faithfulness in pain and death and suffering, that would help other people.
I love the way it feels. I use the time sometimes to pray. I'll pray silently and just sort of talk with God. Life with my mom was fine until my dad came back.
That you enrich us with your blessings and that you strengthen us.
I didn't want to live with him because I was afraid. So I ended up getting married instead to basically a man who was just another stranger. And it didn't work out from the very beginning. I was too young at the time to know that that wasn't the way it should be.
This is Passages, and we're talking to Mary.
I don't quit. I don't quit. I hang in there. I see it through.
KQV is very fortunate in that we are able to air Passages from the Presbyterian Media Mission. And Passages is one of those rare shows that it's kind of like the cereal that's good for kids, but they don't know it. Well, Passages is a program that's good for people, but it doesn't come out and present itself as something that's very preachy or beats them over the head with the message of turn or burn or do this and don't do that. Instead, it entertains a lot of people, and they don't really realize just how much of a message, sometimes a good message, the show brings. It's a combination of music. The messages from week to week are a wide variety, and just about anybody from any walk of life could tune in, scanning across the dial, find Passages, and not even really realize they're listening to so-called public affairs programming.